The War Council chamber of the Krevan Dominion hummed with anticipation as General Kiza stood before the assembled fleet commanders. Her crimson scales gleamed under the harsh light of the holographic display, which showed the blue-green marble of Earth rotating peacefully in the void. "The humans have rejected our ultimatum," she announced, her voice carrying the weight of authority that had led her species through 3 centuries of conquest. Their answer was laughter. A murmur of outrage rippled through the chamber. Commander Thexel slammed his appendage against the crystalline table. "Then we shall teach these primitives the price of defiance. They barely achieved faster-than-light travel 50 cycles ago." Kiza's expression remained unreadable as she manipulated the holographic controls. Images began flooding the display. Strange 2-dimensional recordings from Earth's entertainment archives. Spaceships engaged in impossible battles, creatures of nightmarish design stalking through corridors, worlds burning under the fury of apocalyptic weapons. "Before we commit our armada," Kiza said quietly, "I believe you should understand what I discovered during my reconnaissance of human culture." The assembled commanders leaned forward, confused by the primitive imagery. "These are what humans call science fiction," Kiza continued. "For over 200 Earth years they have been imagining warfare in space. They have dreamed of aliens, General Thexel. They have dreamed of us." She pulled up a particular image, a massive triangular warship bristling with weapons. "They call this a Star Destroyer. A fictional vessel from a story created decades before they achieved spaceflight. Note the specifications their imaginations conjured. Kilometer-long dreadnoughts, planet-destroying weapons, legions of soldiers bred specifically for war." "Fairy tales," Thexel scoffed. "Children's fantasies. Are they?" Kiza zoomed in on another set of images. "They have imagined FTL drives that fold space. We use quantum tunneling. They imagined it first and called it warp drive. They have imagined hive mind species that assimilate other races. They have imagined parasitic aliens that burst from chests. They have imagined machines that hunt organic life to extinction. They have imagined interdimensional horrors, time-traveling warriors, and weapons that crack planets like eggs." She paused, letting the weight of her words settle over the chamber. "Every nightmare we could visit upon them, they have already imagined. And then they imagined how to survive it, how to fight it, how to win." Nick Ramirez stood in the command center of the Terran Defense Station, watching the alien fleet hold position at the edge of the solar system. The young officer had spent 3 sleepless days preparing defensive scenarios, each more desperate than the last. Humanity's small fleet of 12 warships faced a Krevan armada of 300. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission," the communications officer called out. It's a direct line to their commanding general." Nick's jaw tightened. "Put it through." The holographic projector shimmered to life, revealing the towering form of General Kiza. Her reptilian features were difficult to read, but something in her posture suggested weariness rather than aggression. "Commander Ramirez," she began, her translator rendering her words into perfect English. "I am General Kiza of the Krevan Dominion. I come not to deliver an ultimatum, but to propose a negotiation." Nick blinked in surprise. "General, your fleet has been in attack formation for 72 hours. That's an unusual prelude to diplomacy." "I have spent those 72 hours, Kiza replied, "preventing a war." She gestured and new images appeared in the holographic space between them, scenes Nick recognized immediately. The xenomorph from Alien, the Borg from Star Trek, the Reapers from Mass Effect, the sandworms of Dune, the weapons of Halo, the cosmic horrors of Lovecraft. "Your species has spent 2 centuries preparing for this moment," Kiza said. "Not in your military academies or research laboratories, but in your stories. You have imagined every possible threat the universe could offer. You have imagined fighting gods, machines, hive minds, and empires that span galaxies. You have imagined losing everything and clawing your way back from extinction." Nick felt a chill run down his spine as understanding dawned. "The Dominion has conquered 47 species," Kiza continued. "All of them were surprised by warfare in space. All of them had to learn the rules of stellar combat in real time during the invasion. But you have been practicing in your minds for generations." She pulled up an analysis, detailed breakdowns of human military doctrine, traced back to science fiction influences. The carrier group strategies borrowed from Battlestar Galactica. The marine dropship tactics reminiscent of Starship Troopers. The contingency plans for alien invasion that had been refined through countless books, films, and games. When I presented this intelligence to the War Council, Kiza said, I asked them a simple question. What happens when you attack a species that has spent 200 years fantasizing about alien invasion? A species whose children play games about fighting extraterrestrial empires? A species whose entertainment industry has created a detailed encyclopedia of theoretical alien weaknesses and human countermeasures? Nick remained silent, recognizing the rhetorical nature of her questions. I showed them your film Independence Day, where you defeated an overwhelming alien force. I showed them Ender's Game, where a child destroyed an entire species. I showed them your books about uplifted dolphins fighting space battles, about humans surviving robot apocalypses, about warriors who never surrender even when their planets burn. I showed them that every time you imagine alien contact, you imagine yourself winning, despite impossible odds. Kiza's eyes fixed on Nick with an intensity that transcended species. Do you know what terrifies the Dominion, Commander Ramirez? Not your weapons, which we outmatch. Not your ships, which we outnumber. What terrifies us is that you have culturally weaponized imagination itself. You have turned storytelling into a strategic resource. Every human enters potential combat having already mentally rehearsed 1,000 variations of this scenario. She leaned forward, and for the first time, Nick detected something that might have been respect in her alien features.
The War Council has voted to propose a treaty.
Not because we fear your current military, we could crush it. We fear what you will become. Because unlike every other species we've encountered, you've already imagined your own evolution. You've already written the stories of your own ascension. And in those stories, Commander, you always win. Nick took a breath, weighing his next words carefully. And if we refuse to sign your treaty, General? Kiza's expression, if it could be called that, shifted into something that might have been a smile. Then the Dominion will withdraw and wait for the day when one of your science fiction scenarios becomes reality. Because we've read your stories, Commander, we know how they end, and we have no desire to become the villains in humanity's next chapter. The transmission ended, leaving Nick alone with his thoughts and the distant silhouette of the alien fleet beginning its retreat. In the observation deck, a young ensign turned to his companion, confusion evident on his face. Did we just win a war by writing books and making movies? His companion, a veteran officer who'd grown up on Asimov and Heinlein, smiled grimly. No, Ensign. We won it by believing we could. Outside, the stars continued their eternal dance, and somewhere in the vast darkness, humanity's stories echoed through the cosmos, a warning, a promise, and a declaration that these particular primates had been preparing for the universe long before the universe came calling, and the universe for once had decided to listen.